So it's been a while since my last episode, but since then, I've put in a lot of work on my game in the past few months and got a lot done. I've had to completely overhaul the movement system and start from scratch implementing a custom character movement component. My previous movement system suffered from latency issues and lag issues at higher ping rates, and it was clear that solution wouldn't be viable for multiplayer. But before I delve into the improvements and additions I made to my game so far, I want to give you an idea of what kind of game I'm trying to make. Nowadays, a lot of shooters are larger scale multiplayers where games can last over half an hour and are an investment to get into. But the traditional game modes like Team Deathmatch are getting kinda stale at this point. So I want to create a game that's easy and quick to get into, but has unique gameplay elements that separate itself from other games. I'm focusing on small scale multiplayer game modes that incorporate two main playable classes, a heavy class and a light class. The light class's main strength is increased mobility. This comes in the form of faster walking, running, and sliding speeds, along with increased mantle heights and wall jumping, and even short wall running capabilities. There are also several advantages that the light class has in terms of gunplay, including firing from the hip while sprinting and jumping. The main advantages of using the light class come in easier map traversal, which aids in outmaneuvering enemies and also quickly capturing objectives.
Like that's way
Yeah.
better for. Oh, you're dead.
The heavy class's strengths, on the other hand, are increased armor and damage output, along with gunfighting capabilities such as majorly reduced flinched effects. Each class is also given class-specific weapons and equipment that are specifically tailored to that class's playstyle. So while the light class's weaponry is supposed to be used on the move, the heavy class is designed to be played in a more methodical way, by using various equipment types to trap and corner enemies, as well as defend objectives.
I want it to be that.
What?
Most of the work that I've done so far has been focused on the core gameplay mechanics, gameplay logic, and game modes. So the weapon models, character models, level designs, and animations currently are placeholders until I'm able to find a talented artist to help me with those things. Starting off with the movement system, the big additions that I made so far is mantling, wall jumping, and limited wall running. The heavy class is only able to vault and mantle over smaller heights, while the light class can mantle much taller objects. When adding wall running and wall jumping, I wanted to allow the light class to traverse the map in ways the heavy class could not. However, to ensure the movement is not excessive, the wall run has a very short timer, and while attached to the wall, you'll immediately start to slide down from gravity. So while you can chain wall jumps from surface to surface together, you can't really run along the same surface for long at all. The main game mode is a 3v3 elimination objective game mode. Teams start off with a score of 20, and each time a player dies or the opposing team scores the objective, their team's score is decremented by 1. On a team's last life, the last player that respawns will be given a massive buff that boosts its class-specific attributes. Heavy classes receive even greater armor stats, faster healing times, increased equipment capacity, and reduced recharge times, whereas the light class will receive a significant speed boost and equipment buff. This portion of the game is designed to provide the losing team with a chance to come back. In order for the winning team to win the game at this point, they'll have to eliminate the remaining opposition and can't rely on the objective anymore. Through playtesting, I've discovered several game-breaking bugs. A recent one that took me about a day to realize what was causing it occurred when a piece of equipment was being destroyed. This would only happen in some instances, and when it did, the entire game would crash. After some testing, I began to realize that this would only happen when using a grenade or explosive device to destroy another grenade or explosive device. So basically what's happening is, since any piece of equipment can be destroyed, the equipment class has a receive damage function that's inherited by any equipment type. So when the receive damage function is called for that piece of equipment, before it gets destroyed and removed from the game, if it's an explosive equipment, it will call the apply radial damage function to anything near it. So, for example, if I use a grenade to destroy a mine, the mine will receive that damage and call the receive damage function, and then call its own apply damage function, which will apply damage to the original grenade that tried to destroy it, and that original grenade will run its own receive damage function, and this will go on forever and ever. And this is basically an infinite recursive loop where both pieces of equipment are constantly damaging each other before it can reach the destroy function. So once I figured this out, the solution was simple. I add a boolean to check if the equipment is being destroyed, since it should only receive damage once, and if that boolean is true, just immediately return on the receive damage function to avoid running further code. I've also altered how some of the equipment works. For example, the mine grenade initially worked using multiple raycasts to check for enemy players, but I found this method to be inconsistent and ineffective. So what I ended up doing was I switched to using a volume capsule to check if enemies were inside of that capsule. I found this to be a more reliable solution. It also covers a bigger area, is more customizable, and I was able to reuse this code for other equipment types. I'm gonna die if I go through there. There's a little gap maybe I can fit through right here. However, the only issue with using a volume capsule is that unlike a raycast which will be blocked by other objects such as walls, the volume capsule uses coordinate data to determine if an actor's collision bounds intersect with the capsule's volume, and doesn't account for obstructing objects. To solve this, if an enemy is detected within the capsule's volume, I use a raycast from the equipment to the enemy actor, and if the raycast is unobstructed, then the mine will explode. So far, there's a lot of things that I've implemented that I haven't discussed yet, and there's many more things that I plan on implementing in the future. I plan on releasing shorter videos on singular, unique game mechanics so I can more frequently document the game's progression. I also want to host periods where you guys can playtest the game and provide feedback on it. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'll leave a Discord link in the description below where I'll be providing more frequent updates on the state of the game, along with dates for playtesting in the future. Thanks for watching.
Not that that would help.
Stop! I just see you with your arm extended and running towards me, just spamming grenades. Where are you? Oh my god! Oh shit! Stop! Psychopath. I don't even think the timer matters because I have endgame turned off. Oh, it does.
Oh, that's a tie, bro. You suck.